Guys, let's get right into it. This video is made in partnership with Kalshi. And what do you know it, Kalshi has a market on whether the UFC will crown a new champion this year. Now, you know me, I don't predict fights, I foretell destinies. And looking at this market, I've got opinions. Here's how it works. If you trade a contract at 45 cents, the market says there's a 45% chance that this happens. If it does, that contract pays out $1, more than doubling your money. Same deal at 60 cents. Market says 60% chance. Put $100 in at 60 cents, you're going to walk out with about $166. At 45 cents, roughly $222. Kalshi flips the script. It's the largest legal prediction market in the United States. Available in all 50 states, and these are real money trades between real people. Kalshi works like the stock market. It matches traders with each other. No VIG, no house edge. No limiting you because you're winning too much. They've got over 1 million users and they facilitated over $2 billion in trades. And get this, Kalshi even pays interest on long-term positions. You can earn before the market even resolves. If you want to try it out, Kalshi is giving $10 to anybody that signs up at kalshi.com/Chael. Use the code Chael and trade $100. Go check it out and trade like the bad guy.
Oh, Dan Hooker, Saint-Denis. Oh, guys, this one hurt. This one hurt me. Because Hooker fought so well. He fought so well. He did not lose this fight. He lost a position. And by the way, he caused the position, which was the right thing to do. Like, Bisping and Daniel both did not like it. And they both kind of commented at the same time, oh, that was the wrong move. It wasn't, okay? Now, but let me tell you why. Dan Hooker historically hasn't been able to keep up with dominant wrestlers. Can we all agree? Because Dan would agree. He fixed it. He fixed it. And he worked on it every day, which turned into weeks, which turned into months, which turns into years, which turns into these experience in there with Chandler, who's a great wrestler, or Islam, who's a great wrestler. He ends up with Gamrot. Gamrot on paper, by the way, has an incredible wrestling pedigree. A lot of you guys don't know there's something called the European Championships. Many people hold the European Championships in a difficulty scale higher than the World Championships. Gamrot was 5th. I'm just sharing with you, like, Gamrot's awesome. He's awesome. Hooker beat him, but that was the confidence that he needed. So then us as fans lose the ability to just look on paper and go, okay, here's the more dominant wrestler. That's Hooker's kryptonite. Hooker's going to get beat. Right? When he beat Gamrot, it changed things, but it changed it with Hooker too. Hooker's attitude and Hooker's confidence was totally different, and he was showing that tonight. He looked awesome. He looked awesome, but it comes back to the offensive technique that got countered, that put him in the position that ended the fight. I support it. One of the great things you can ever do with a wrestler, and there's a couple of them. Anti-wrestling was created in my life, in my orbit, it was created by Nate Quarry. And if Nate stole it from somebody else, I don't know the somebody else. Nate started to do a couple of things. I worked out with Nate every day, and one day he is totally different. Everything's different. Oh, okay. Nate had a good day. Go in the next day. Okay. I had a bad day. All right, go in the next day. And pretty soon he finally goes, hey, what are you doing? And he it was like he wanted someone to ask him. And he goes, very calmly goes, anti-wrestling. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And he had a couple of positions. He had a couple of things that he was doing that was anti-wrestling. I'm not gonna tell you what they are. You'll have to ask Nate Quarry, but he created, I swear, Nate created this whole thing. Now hear me out. You'll have a lot of guys that'll have a wrestling problem. And they'll go in and they'll work on their wrestling defense. And that'll get you there, but it's the long cut. Let's talk about the shortcut. The shortcut, if you want to perfect your wrestling defense, is to just create a wrestling offense. If you start attacking the other guy with wrestling, it will be the ultimate defense. It's not your sprawl and learning to stop a double leg and, okay, we get up against the wall and we turn our legs this way and our hips and we start fighting the head, we push the head away. That's good stuff, and that's part of it. But if you want to really shortcut it, right, if you're having problems stopping a double leg, the number one thing that you can do in the practice room, believe it or not, is to practice your double leg. Start hitting double legs. And yes, that will create a defense. Just hear me out on this. Hooker was doing that. Hooker was doing everything right. He's threatening that guillotine. He's scrambling up off the bottom. His striking is always on point. He's dog tough. And then he was mounting an offense. He was getting to underhooks. He was pressure forward. He was going to body locks. Saint-Denis, let's give him his credit. Saint-Denis got away from pure wrestling, and he got into a lot of judo techniques. And Saint-Denis did a great job. I don't want to take that from him. I'm just sharing, like, Hooker did not go out and get beat up tonight. Hooker went out and got beat in a position tonight, and he's the one that forced and created the position. It was a great fight by Hooker. It's very misleading. If you go see the last minute of that fight, it's very misleading. This was one of Hooker's great performances. And that's not the way that this sport works. And Saint-Denis had a little bit of a miss. And a little bit of a demiss, he called out Charles Oliveira for the BMF. Now, Charles Oliveira versus Saint-Denis, I like a lot. Saint-Denis doesn't qualify yet for a BMF, and I don't want him to take that as an insult. It's just, there's a thing, and there's just a longevity, and he most certainly is one bad dude. But he's not going to get that fight. However, I like Oliveira versus Saint-Denis. If Oliveira loses to Max, I still like Oliveira versus Saint-Denis. I think he's on to something there. He went a little bit too far. You should always, right? You'll never go far enough if you're not willing to go too far. Aside from that, it was a very great night for Saint-Denis, but I will not concede. I will not admit that Dan Hooker fought poorly. Dan Hooker looked great.